Steph Curry and the Warriors nearly beat the Lakers in the 7th versus 8th seed play-in game, and it revealed some stuff going forward for them when they play the Phoenix Suns in round 1, and if they win, what they'll do against the winner of Portland and Denver. So I think this play-in game gave us an interesting conversation about Dennis Schroder. This is going to be the highest level of basketball he's going to play in his career. I don't want to overreact too much to Schroder's bad performance because Steph destroys pretty much everybody who defends him. Schroder was pretty good on defense this year, and there are easier matchups for him that he can win. I also wouldn't be shocked if he's a bit out of shape because of the safety protocol stuff he went through, but I still think there's a little bit of a problem with him in certain high-level matchups. Dennis can get to the rim and do creative things with his dribble, but he had some questionable decision-making last night, whether that was not seeing LeBron having a mismatch in the 4th quarter or making a pass out of the pick and roll. He had some really bad IQ passes, honestly. I said on Twitter some of these passes he was making look like Eric Bledsoe trying to thread the needle. I get that Draymond is super smart on defense and all that good stuff, but he made it way too easy for Draymond to get steals. The problem with having Schroder late in those games is he'll have the ball in those one-possession games in the 4th quarter when you want the ball in LeBron's hands, you want the ball in AD's hands, you want to see those Alex Caruso, LeBron pick and roll so you can create a mismatch, force a double, and get the ball moving. That's how the Lakers win at the end of the games. Caruso's actually got a little bit more creative from last year with his handle and passing, so you might be able to trust him to make plays. In certain situations, you might not be able to win with Schroder at the end. His 3-point shot percentage dipped this season from the OKC year, and he's taking the ball out of your best player's hands at times. If he's not making threes and he's trying to be Kyrie light, you cannot play him. And saying all of that, I still think Schroder should be fine. I've seen some people say Schroder should be benched for Caruso. I don't agree with that at the moment. Maybe at the end of the games, depending on how he's playing. You just can't have LeBron put his head down and go to the rim for 40 minutes. You got to have other guys out there that can dribble from the start. I saw a lot of stuff about Frank Vogel being too slow to cut Andre Drummond's minutes. I definitely thought he left them out there for too long, but in that second half, we saw that Vogel is still very aware of what will win the Lakers back-to-back titles. The lineup that won them the game was the one that they used in the bubble, plus Wesley Matthews, and Wes Matthews barely played the entire season. It was good to see that because sometimes Vogel can be slower with the lineup changes. I think Vogel was just hoping to start Drummond and get through this game. If this was like a real playoff series in a Game 3, Vogel would have been quicker to make a lineup change rather than wait till the end of the 3rd quarter. Their best lineup is going to be LeBron, AD, KCP, Caruso, and whoever you want to pick from Kuzma, Schroder, Morris, Matthews, or Gasol, depending on the matchup. Steph Curry played 41 minutes in that game, and you have to have your best guys out there to defend. You already have Bron and AD for offense. Going with Caruso over Schroder late in the game let me know that Vogel is okay with making those hard decisions when Jokic, CP3, Kawhi, Lillard, whoever else is having a great game against the Lakers. Vogel's going to need to be able to make that adjustment and say, hey, we respect you, thanks for your contributions, but you got to take a seat. Benching someone like Schroder is not easy because, he has a free agency coming up, and most coaches would have just left him in the game because, hey, he's our starting point guard. We all know what works for the Lakers at center when stuff gets serious. You put Anthony Davis there. You saw the good and bad of the Lakers center spot against the Warriors. Anthony Davis shot 9 of 13 from the field when he was at center and went 1 of 11 from the field when either Andre Drummond or Montrezl Harrell was on the floor with him. The Lakers look like an early 2000s team on offense when they have 2 centers. I mean, it's not bad for certain situations, or if you have Marc Gasol who can stand out at the 3-point line and give the Lakers a little bit more spacing and passing to operate. But they look really slow, and if AD's jumper is off in those 2 big man lineups, then it starts to get real ugly for the Lakers. You can defend them a lot easier. Unless he's Moses Malone during the game rebounding and putting back dunks, Andre Drummond should not be playing big minutes like that. The Lakers offense is somewhat dependent on what kind of spacing they're getting in the front court, and you're not getting any type of spacing with Drummond out there. Their center situation is just strange because they also have Montrezl Harrell, who I've barely mentioned. The Suns are an okay matchup for Harrell, a lot better than the Warriors. They just have a bunch of guys who can get minutes, but they're going to be sitting for most of the game when AD finally says, alright, it's time to move to the 5. I'll use the end of this video to talk about the Lakers and Suns really quick. This won't be a deep dive or anything. The Lakers are going to drive game 1, I think. I fully expect LeBron to be in chill mode in the first half like he was against the Warriors. He's going to see how the Suns react on defense to different things so he can use that information later in the series. I don't expect him to go mismatch hunting in game 1 or even parts of game 2. He's going to need to warm up a bit. I've watched too much LeBron in my life to expect him to come out firing in the first game. And when you factor in the ankle stuff, it might be slow for him early on. It also might be slow for Andre Drummond going into the playoffs. I would give Andre Drummond a chance against DeAndre Ayton in game 1. I'm not a Drummond defender or anything, but I would give him the first 6 minutes of game 1 to see what he can do. Outside of this series, I don't really see how much more he can help in the West playoffs if the Lakers advance. He has absolutely zero chance against Nikola Jokic and whoever else comes out of that other side of the bracket, from the Clippers, Jazz, whoever you want to pick. He's not going to be good in those series. I don't see Drummond having a Dwight Howard type of impact in the later rounds. But I still say give him a chance against Ayton in the first quarter of game 1. It's Ayton's first ever real playoff series. See what he can do. If he can't do anything, then cut Drummond's minutes in the second half instead of starting him. Give those minutes to Marc Gasol. Hopefully his mobility isn't an issue in certain matchups. They're going to have a size advantage over Phoenix, so you might as well try the 2 big lineup with Anthony Davis. This really should be a great Anthony Davis series. He gets DeAndre Ayton as his matchup. Ayton is improved. He makes a lot less of the little mistakes he made in the past, but this is his first playoff series, and we've seen guys in their first playoff series not play as well and look a bit lost out there. And this first playoff series is against the defending champs, and if he gets in foul trouble, the Suns don't really have that great of options unless you want to go small and put Jay Crowder at center. Frank Kaminsky has no chance. I know he's played well. He still has no chance. They also have Dario Saric. I know that his net rating is great when the Suns put him at center, but you have to throw that stuff out if he's in a one-on-one matchup with AD. AD should just cook these guys. I know the Suns defense was solid this season and they're not going to roll over. I'm not expecting a Lakers sweep or Lakers in 5, but there's no Draymond Green here to blow up the Lakers possessions. Personally, I think the Lakers would rather deal with the Suns defenders than one game-changing guy like Draymond. The Suns have Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and Torrey Craig, which aren't bad options to put on LeBron. That's pretty good, all things considered. I don't agree with people saying the Suns are going to get smoked, but I do feel bad because in a normal season, the Lakers shouldn't be the 7th seed, and the Suns at the 2 seed, they win that first round matchup. It sucks because they're finally back in the postseason after missing it for so many years. Devin Booker is in his first playoffs, but now you're up against the best defense in the league that is now locked in after the play-in game. And the Lakers needed that play-in game in the sense that they needed to feel the fear of someone like Steph Curry possibly eliminating you. Steph puts a different type of fear in your heart, and that helped the Lakers get ready for this round 1. Vogel worked on lineups on the fly. It helped AD for when he needs to go out and guard on the perimeter. He played against Draymond. LeBron definitely needed a rhythm game as well. If this wasn't a play-in year and the Lakers are just going into Phoenix for games 1 and games 2 normally, I think the Lakers lose both of these games. I know they won the title, but the Lakers haven't had a game where everything was on the line in some time, and that one was pretty important because the Warriors have basically been playing playoff games the past month. I have the Lakers in 6 over Phoenix. If they let the Lakers split the first 2 home games, I think that's going to be a problem. You need to take advantage of these games while LeBron is still warming up, and you know Vogel is going to test run Drummond for game 1, so you got to get out to a hot start. The Suns have to win the first 2 games. That's just how I'm feeling about it. And that's it for me. I think this is the blueprint for the Lakers to win that series against Phoenix. Then the next rounds, I know I said my next video is going to be on Jimmy Butler. That'll be tomorrow, I think, but this Lakers stuff came up, so I wanted to make a video about it. Hopefully the Heat win game 1 so this video doesn't look too stupid. Let me know how you're feeling about the Lakers, Suns, and Steph Curry down in the comments, and if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like as it helps the channel grow, and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me.